Hi guys, welcome back to some more chapters of Mac B Kid Spy Mac Undercover. We left off last time with Mac on an airplane to London and he had his Game Boy stolen. So we are in London now in the story, and this is chapter 3 called The Tower. This is the Tower of London. As you can see, there is more than one tower. The Tower of London is not a great name. The Tower of London is a fortress. The oldest tower in the Tower of London is a tall white tower which is called the White Tower. Good name. The fortress was built in 1066 by a king who conquered England, who was called William the Conqueror, also a good name. William the Conqueror built the fortress and the tower to scare English people. Since that time, the kings and queens of England have used it as a place to keep stuff. Weapons, money, prisoners, art, a polar bear, an elephant, a lion, and several other kinds of animals. Oops. Henry VIII kept many of his wives, friends, and relatives at the Tower of London before he chopped off their heads. And for the last few centuries, the kings and queens of England have kept the crown jewels there too. And so, as soon as I landed in London, I took a taxi straight to the Tower of London to search for clues. The place was packed. Beefeaters in blue and red uniforms told tourists stories of treachery, violence, and love. An old man held a giant camera up to his face. Two people with purple Liberty spikes kissed against an ancient wall. There were kids everywhere, kids standing near their moms and dads, kids bunched up in school groups, kids looking bored listening to music on their Walkman. I did my best to blend in. Good spies are invisible. I checked a map and made my way to a building marked Jewel House. The Jewel House's two huge doors were closed and blocked by two huge beefeaters holding two huge battle axes. My mouth was dry, but I swallowed hard anyway. "Hello," I said. "Hello," said the guard on the right. "Jewel House is closed today, Sonny," said the guard on the left. "The crown jewels is being dusted." I knew the guard was lying to me, and I said so. "No," I said, "there's been a robbery. I know because the Queen sent me." The guard on the right frowned. "Clever one, isn't he?" "Too clever," said the one on the left. "You must be the secret agent." "I am," I said. "Never been too fond of secret agents myself," said the guard on the right. "I don't really like children," said the guard on the left. The guard on the right grimaced, "And don't get me started on Americans." I'd met plenty of people who said they didn't like children. For instance, my mom's boyfriend, Craig, said it all the time. But who didn't like secret agents? "Wait," I said, "secret agents are great. Why don't you like secret agents?" "All that sneaking around, telling stories, playing tricks, soldiering's an honest job." "But you just lied to me right now about the dusting," I said. "Look at him," said the one on the left. "Clever, clever." They uncrossed their axes and opened the doors. I stepped through the entrance and into the dark. Chapter 4, Queenly Power. Even though the fortress was full of towers, the crown jewels were kept deep below the ground. Down 49 steps along a dim hallway, I walked toward the scene of the crime. It was cool and quiet underground. The only sound was the squeak of my sneakers on the stones. The hallway ended in a doorway and a sign. The crown jewels, symbols of queenly power. I passed into a room. There was a great glass case in the center of the floor. The case was lined in red velvet and lit from above. On pillows and pedestals shone treasure after treasure, scepters, crowns, diadems, which are a type of crown, daggers, tiaras, also crowns, and orbs. Everything was gold or silver and studded with gemstones that sparkled in the light. I stepped forward and gently laid a hand on the glass. I was entranced. I was dazzled, but I was also confused. I thought she said the crown jewels had been stolen, I said to myself. I was alone in the room. Hello, someone said directly behind me. Chapter 5, Her Majesty. I turned around. It was the Queen of England. I recognized her face right away from the money. The Queen of England was surrounded by 12 corgis who nipped at one another's tails. She was wearing a purple dress and a hat of the same color. Feathers from several exotic birds poked up from the brim. I bowed because that seemed like something you should do when you come face to face with the Queen. She frowned. I knelt because it seemed like my bow had not been enough. She smiled. Please rise, said the Queen. She held out a tin. Would you like a biscuit? A biscuit, I said. She shook the tin and smiled. I reached out and tried one. The biscuit tasted like paper and dried out my mouth. Delicious, isn't it? Said the Queen. Here's a fun fact. What you in America call cookies, we in English call biscuits. This isn't a cookie, I said. Cookies are sweet. They have stuff that tastes good, like chocolate chips. The Queen frowned. Then what do you call biscuits? We call them biscuits, and we feed them to dogs. I see, said the Queen. She put the lid on the tin and put the tin in her handbag. How was your flight? It was awful, I said. Somebody stole my Game Boy. I don't know what that is, said the Queen. Oops, I think I skipped a page. Yes. Oh, I said, it's a handheld video game console. Nintendo makes them. I am of the general belief that video games are rubbish, said the Queen. Actually, they're pretty fun, I said, and a lot of them really are little stories. Like Mario, he's a plumber who one day, let me give you some advice, said the Queen. When people ask you how your flight was, they are looking for a short answer, like good or long. They are certainly not asking to hear stories about plumbers or misplaced Game Boys. It wasn't misplaced. It was stolen. Don't you think it might be related to the theft of the crown jewels? I gestured to the case full of treasures. Also, I thought you said somebody had stolen the crown jewels. I did, but I gestured to the case again. But what? But there are a bunch of jewels here. Mac, there are 140 objects in the crown jewels. They weren't all stolen. I see, I said. I pulled out a notebook so I could take down a description. So what was stolen? My spoon, said the Queen. Your what? My spoon, said the Queen. I started laughing. I could tell from the Queen's face that I shouldn't laugh, so I stopped. The room was quiet. The Queen cleared her throat. I bowed again just to be safe. Then I said, tell me more about this spoon. This spoon is quite special. It is used in the coronation of kings and queens. It is called, said the Queen, the coronation spoon. Good name, I said. The coronation spoon has been in the royal collection for more than 800 years. That's an old spoon, I said. Indubitably, said the Queen. It is made of silver and covered in gold. It is engraved with leafy scrolls and the faces of monsters. 4 freshwater pearls are mounted in its stem. I wrote this down. How big is it? I asked. It measures 10 inches. That's a long spoon, I said. Indubitably, said the Queen. I set down my pencil. Look, this seems like a very nice spoon. Indubitably, said the Queen. But why the big fuss? It's a spoon. I shall tell you a story, said the Queen. For more than 1,000 years, oh boy, I said. And that is where we are going to end for today. We will read some more on Monday. I will see you guys all then. Bye-bye.